7:19. Yeah, I was just talking in circles.
Sorry, everybody, we're fixing it real quick.
Yep.
I'm muted.
Yeah, I muted both of
We're
the mics.
fixing it. We're putting it back up real quick. Had a little bit of an issue. The devil trying to mess everything up. There we go.
Yep.
And there we go. Okay. Oh, it's on the wrong thing.
There we go.
Here we go. Okay. So,
I
I don't know what Kelton last talked about. What were you last saying?
I touched a little bit on the what I was talking about with the priest. I don't have the verses or anything, but I was just talking about it, and then talking about how even something as simple as video games can become an idol to you because it can take you away from the church, and even if you're listening to it on the phone, you're not paying attention. You're playing a video game. You're not gonna pay. You're not gonna hear what
That's
God has to
why,
say. And then I ran in circles trying to recap what you said.
I'm always gonna be thankful for my dad for this because it has helped me tremendously build self-control. Because way back in like 2000, that's like 2011, 12. Was it then? Was it 2011, 12? I think so.
Just go off of age.
Whichever. It was sometime back then. I got a little DS, and I was obsessed with
Hiding
it. I
that
was
DS on your
playing
pillow when
it
your parents
all
come
the
into
time.
the room.
Yeah. And when I did that, Dad realized the problem immediately because I was so zoned in on that. I was not paying any attention to. Can you handle that?
Mhm.
Thank you. Double trying to mess everything up again. This time I'm going to take over. So what was I saying? Right, the DS. I was so thankful for my dad because that helped me build self-control when he said no DS, no games, period, no video games, period, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And I went not berserk, well, maybe a little berserk. I was so just like, why? I did not understand a lick of it. I understood Wednesdays and Sundays later because I was like, all right, that's God's time. I understand. But school days, I was like, why? And I understand now that I'm older that I was making that into an idol, even if I wasn't playing it on Wednesdays and Sundays. I was turning that into something that I was running after and not towards God.
With me, though, I was raised differently. I was able to play video games pretty much when I wanted to, right? And I still had, like, I don't think it became as an issue with me because it taught me its own way of self-control. There was a point where it was like, hey, I want to play video games right now. I don't want to talk to nobody. I'm playing this, okay? But, like, eventually I got to the point where it's like, I don't feel like playing right now. I'll play that later. Like, Sundays, I would still play, but I would play later in the day, not, like, during church, you know?
Dude, don't.
Bring
not be playing.
Bring this DS to church, and then in the middle you close it. You just hear bye-bye, the Mario.
Brother Ray is preaching, and then just bye-bye.
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be ridiculous. Yeah, that we both had different ways of learning self-control. But I know for me it was becoming an idol. And Dad saw that, caught it, and that became a rule, and now it's a staple in our household. And it helps all the kids build that self-control. And I didn't realize how much it helped until, like, was it last year? I think it was last year. It was the first time I was like, thank you. I told him thank you.
Like,
for
that
doing
was an actual...
Yeah, that was like the actual like moment I was like, oh, wow.
That moment of realization.
I'd like people always told, at least me, I know at least told me, I'm pretty sure they told you, that later in life you're going to realize why they made so many rules, and you're going to have like, oh, wow moment. I was like, no. I'm not going to have that. I know I'm right, and now I'm like...
I will never believe you, Father.
But going down here, going back to Exodus chapter 32. Let's see. Stiff-necked people, we were just talking about that.
I woke up with a stiff neck.
Mm-hmm. There it is. We were on verse 11 before I had to leave. And Moses besought the Lord his God and said, Lord, why doth thy wrath wax hot against thy people, which thou hast brought forth out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand? Wherefore should the Egyptians speak and say, for mischief did he bring them out, to slay them in the mountains and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from thy fierce wrath and repent of this evil against thy people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, thy servants, to whom thou swearest by thine own self, and saidst to them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have spoken of will I give unto your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. And the Lord repented of the evil which he thought to do unto this people.
Oh, is this where he breaks?
This is where he breaks it. This is something I wanted to go to, because there is every time, and this isn't just with idols. This is with sin. Anytime you sin, or anytime there is an idol that you put above God, there is always a consequence. And we think we have avoided the consequence, like you lie to someone and then nothing bad happens.
And the biggest consequence of sin is death.
Yeah, that's the biggest consequence. But you'll think, wow, I avoided it. There is no consequence for my actions.
I dodged a bullet.
You dodged a bullet. But who was it? I think, and this wasn't biblical, this was Jordan Peterson. He said, you can try to bend the fabric of reality however much you want, but you can't break it. It's always going to go back to being straight. And that's the same thing with sin. With sin, you're trying to bend God's rules. And you're like, yeah, we can do that. And then I'm within God's, what is it? What's the word I'm trying to find?
Law?
Yeah, I'm within God's law. That works. And within God's law. And you know you're not, but you're trying to bend it to where it is. It's going to go back straight eventually, and you're going to have to deal with the consequences. And it can come up years down the road.
I mean, what was it? With honoring your father and mother, disrespecting them can actually shorten your lifespan, biblically speaking, anyways.
We had it was Brother Jamie. He did a little message about that on the youth retreat. Was it the first one? It was the first
second one.
Was it the second one? It was the second one. And there's a verse that says it will lengthen your lifespan when you respect and honor your father and mother.
Yep.
So if it lengthens it, if you respect them, what's it going to do if you disrespect? Shortens it. And that's another version of consequences. And here we see when Moses came down and he sees they're worshiping the golden calf. We see right here. And Moses turned and went down from the mount, and the two tables of the testimony were in his hand, and the tables were written on both their sides, on the other side and on the other they written. And the tables were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God graven upon the tables. These are the tablets. And when Joshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said unto Moses, there is a noise of war in the camp. So remember, they're having revelry. They're drinking. They're eating.
Oh, yeah.
They're probably doing debauchery. Not very good stuff. And Joshua, who's waiting for Moses, says, hey, it sounds like there's something wrong going in the camp. And he said, it is not the voice of them that shout for mastery, neither is it the voice of them that cry for being overcome, but the noise of them that sing do I hear. And in verse 19, and it came to pass as soon as he came nigh unto the camp, and he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moses' anger waxed hot. And he cast the tables out of his hands and breaketh them beneath the mount. Remember, these are
the Ten Commandments.
These are the Ten Commandments. These are the ones before the Ten Commandments. They are written with the finger of God. Moses sees God write these on stone tablets. And he's coming down with these holy artifacts that God just made to give to the people of Israel. And he looks down and he sees that they couldn't even wait
5 minutes.
It was
probably
minutes.
Longer.
It was longer, but they couldn't even wait 5 minutes to see what God had prepared for them, the laws he'd set. And
it's probably hours, because how long does it take for iron, or not iron, gold to melt and then harden?
It's been a while.
Yeah,
they said it's been long since Moses went up.
Yeah. I just think 5 minutes was a reference point.
It's just crazy that Moses got so angry that he went, you don't deserve these, and he smashed.
And was it you or somebody else that put the 2 and 2 together that when Moses threw down those commandments and he broke them, right? He broke the 10 Commandments, and then ever since then, man has been breaking them ever since. Right? Who was that?
I think that's Brother Ray. Brother Ray said that. It's a fun little, not idiom.
I
but
thought
fun
he
little
stole
thing.
it from one of your sermons or something.
No,
at some
that's
point.
he often references when I was talking about the Nile River, because Pharaoh threw all the babies into the river to die, and then later, God the first thing God did, the first plague was God turned the Nile River into blood, because you're gonna commit sin, the sin's gonna come back to bite you. You reap what you sow.
Yep.
We see right here. After he broke the things, he immediately this is what he immediately did, and he took the calf which they had made and burnt it in the fire and ground it to powder and strawed it upon the water and made the children of Israel drink of it. Whew. He broke gold so fine they turned it into powder in fire, put it into drink, and literally made Israel, the children of Israel, have to drink the consequences of their sins. That's gonna hurt.
Yeah, nasty.
It's nasty. And then Moses said unto Aaron, "What did these people what did this people unto thee, that thou hast brought so great a sin upon them?" And Aaron said, "Let not the anger of my Lord wax hot. Thou knowest the people, that they are set on mischief. For they said unto me, Make us gods which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. And I said unto them, Whoever hath any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it to me, and I cast into the fire, and there came out this calf." And when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies, then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, Who is on the Lord's side? Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. And he said to them, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, Put every man his sword by his side, and go in and out from gate to gate throughout the camp, and slay every man his brother, and every man his companion, and every man his neighbor. And the children of Levi did according to the word of Moses. And there fell of the people that day about 3,000 men.
Okay, so yeah, there was a lot of people.
A lot of people who turned against the Lord.
Full 180.
These people met their end. And these people met their end. 3,000 men. That's not that could be counting the women and children. Because when we're talking about the men, that is, it's Old English. So that's, when we say men, it's referring to the masculine. There's a group of people. So if there's like 2 men and a woman, when there's 2 men and a woman, right? Instead of saying people, they would say men. In the last verse there it says, For Moses had said, Consecrate yourselves today to the Lord, even every man upon his son and upon his brother, that he may bestow upon you a blessing this day. So immediately after they sinned and turned against the Lord, Moses came down. He had the artifacts, the 2 tablets. He broke them because he was so angry. Came down, went, Why are you doing this? First off. Secondly, this is what we're going to do. We're going to fix this. And he fixed it. He broke the calf, this idol. That's what God's going to do. When you have an idol put above God, he is going to go find it. You can't hide it from him. He already knows what it is. And he's going to break it. He's not going to let it stick around when he's your God. He's jealous, remember? And he is going to make you repent for that. Not make you, but he's going to want you to repent for that. And you're going to want to repent for that because you just angered a holy God who makes these massive hurricanes that can decimate nations and tsunamis that can swallow cities. I mean, why would you ever want to anger that God? I don't know, but some people just want to pick a fight with God and go, I can take him.
I've been here the whole time.
He's been here this whole time. I find it kind of funny that, not funny, but no, yeah, it's funny. When I think about Satan, right? Lucifer. Well, before he was Satan, he was Lucifer. He's with God. He's right beside God.
Yeah.
He's the highest of the angels.
He was right by the throne the entire time.
Mm-hmm. And he's seeing this, and he's seeing God. He sees God create things from nothing and the power of God, and he goes, yeah, I can take him. It just, when I think about it like that, it just
weird perspective. Did God make it out of nothing, or did he just technically create it from himself?
Ooh. That's for a different day.
Because, I mean, it wasn't... technically...
He is...
God can do it, but, I mean, you can't... If you think about it, nothing can be made out of nothing, technically. I was just saying...
My brain. See, we can't.
This is the reason why we made
Off-topic.
this class.
Literally, it was these deep
Weird thoughts.
about it. Something I have to remind myself.
We should have just we could have also just called this shower thoughts about God.
Shower thoughts with God.
With God. Oh, no.
With God.
Oh no.
About God. I have to remind myself. There's a good video out there. I don't remember who it's by, but it's when you think about God and where He came from. You have to remember if He created time, space, and matter, He cannot be defined by those things.
Mm.
He has to be outside of it. The creator, the creation is not greater than the creator. We make phones, yet they're not better than our brain. They're not stronger than us. We can break them. They're not smarter than us because our brain is making us breathe, pump oxygen, doing a million things at once, and we're still be able to talk and think these complicated thoughts. The creation is not greater than the creation. The creation is not greater than the creator. Yeah, we've kind of jumped around a little bit today. Had a couple little issues. Little issues. Lord's taking care of it though. He just smoothed it over, hopefully. Man, any time in the Bible where this is personally for me, anytime in the Bible where I see the children of Israel stray from God, and it's the same children who have seen God do these miraculous miracles.
How can you look away from that?
How can you just go,
I'm gonna worship a golden calf today.
Let me worship something that was just hanging from my ear a minute ago. It just we don't see anything. We haven't seen these. I mean, we're relying on faith.
Right. We've seen how God has moved in our own lives, but we haven't seen God literally part the waters or send down a fire tornado.
Fire tornado to keep back the greatest army in the world.
Yeah, at the time.
It just mind boggles me how someone can do that, and yet I see in life people who have been literally saved by God's grace. Brother Ray talks about this guy one time who got into a car crash and he almost dies. He's in a full body cast, and then and he's not saved. He has the opportunity to get saved. He says, "Nah, I'm not going to get saved." And then he gets out of the full body cast and he's completely healed, and he still goes back to sit in debauchery. And it's only by God's grace that he's alive at all.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there was Uncle Chris was talking about this. I don't remember what it was exactly or anything like that, but it was some friend of his. It was some girl that got admitted into the hospital, and she was literally going to die from this. It might have been cancer or something, or a tumor, and you can only see that on MRIs or something or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. Whatever it was, you could only find it in certain ways. Well, they had saw it was in its late stages, and so the nurse and stuff and a few of the other doctors had prayed with her and prayed over her. And the next day, whenever they did another scan, whatever it was completely gone.
I think it was a tumor.
Yeah, I think it was some sort of tumor that was very life-threatening.
Tumor, yeah.
And I don't know. I that's the type of stuff that I like hearing about and seeing. It's yo, that's crazy. There's no way that actually happened, but it actually happened.
But it happened, and
you know, and
you witness it.
Yeah, I didn't witness it, but I mean, I trust Uncle Chris.
Yeah,
you know, and the people that he's that told him this, and so it's just stuff like that gives you that perspective of how can you not think God is real? I mean,
you're seeing these little miracles.
Yeah,
and then in the Bible there are these huge miracles.
Even with us, biologically, we're so complex that we should not even be here. We have a soundboard right here. If there's one thing that is not perfectly finely tuned to a certain dial, everything will not sound right. Right? We turn the gain up too high, your ears will explode. We turn it too low, you cannot hear a single thing we are saying. You might not be able to hear us anyways. We don't know. But that's beside the point. It's just like in nature and stuff. Everything is so finely tuned that literally, if scientists have looked at it, that if there was a little bit too much or too less of certain substances, we would not have Earth. We would not be here. And something that I listened to whenever I went to this God's Not Dead, not convention, but it was like a questionnaire type thing where they're giving you scientific evidence and stuff. They had this eye doctor who was talking about he's a famous eye doctor. He's really good. He's actually in the movies of God's Not Dead. Not him, but a character is inspired by him. And he said there's actually more cells in just your eye and the neurons and all that it takes to be able to see in your brain just in this section than there are stars that they have been able to calculate in the sky in just that section. So in your body, there is probably times a billion even more cells in just your one body than there are stars in the sky.
It's crazy, dude.
And you look at that and the complexity of it, and you tell me there's not a creator behind that. That
it's
as NF says in that song again, "Oh Lord, it's a smack in the face." When you tell me there's no God.
There's I did the math one time because there was a biology class, but it really turned into an evolution class in high school that I had to take. And I don't like evolution. I think it's stupid.
I like evolution in the sense of what college teaches us because it's completely different.
There's adaptation and there's evolution. Adaptation makes sense. If a creature that has lighter fur is in a snowy area, it survives, it reproduces, and it gets
which is what microevolution is.
It makes sense.
You
Evolution of a
macroevolution.
A fish jumping to a monkey does not make sense.
Yeah, you're disagreeing with macroevolution. Microevolution is completely understandable and makes complete sense.
Yeah.
But the macroevolution, I don't.
It doesn't make sense because it is an excuse to not have God. Because it means that random chance will happen where mutations will pop up to where it will eventually get to this state. It'll go from point A to point B.
I mean, why haven't we seen that? Like they say, we have seen it with humans. I'm sure there has been plenty of adaptations in humans to where we're not as similar to what was there 2,000 years ago, right? But that's because we have grown as a society technologically, so we have needed less things. Like our eyebrows, for instance. We're not out in the sun as much. They used to be a little bit more outward, but now they're inner because it's not needed anymore. It just, genetics, we didn't need it. It was just something that slowly went away.
It's something, if you don't need it, it will disappear.
It's natural selection. It's basically natural selection.
God's creation. He created to be self-sustaining, so we could just work.
And that's where mutations come in too, because with mutations, that's a big thing that causes genetic variation. And if you didn't have genetic variation, then there would be no natural selection, meaning there would be no life.
Be no life. It would eventually just
everything would go extinct.
But I did way back when I wanted to. I did not like the teacher. She didn't like me. That was fine. But she one day went, "Well, why can't evolution and God be the same?" And I'm like, "Well, because evolution implies that you don't need God for it to work." That was the way she was teaching it. And you need God. And for the Bible to be true, God must have created everything. Everything. Every single thing had to be created from God. And so just to disprove her point, I looked up scientifically what they say the age of the earth is, but we know it's about 6,000-ish years old, according to the Bible.
And according to man, it's 4.3 billion years. With, like, sustainability-wise.
They say the earth is 4.543 billion years old. So
I
went, okay.
Big brain. I don't know how I remember that.
I went, okay, fine then. So I went and I did mathematical random chance to form one protein or a chromosome, how long that would take. And it went into the trillions, like trillions to the 10th power. It was insane. And I presented the math and she went, "You didn't do it right." And I was like, "I did."
I mean, there's always room for mathematical error.
There is. You know? I did get my friend though, who I think was a genius in math, to double check. He's like, "Yeah, that's right." And I'm like, I felt very bad. But random is it. The Earth could not have been made. We're getting off the topic, right? I like a lot, but it's fine.
I like going off topic, especially whenever we start talking about like biology and stuff.
Yeah, we couldn't. The Earth could not have been made by random chance. It is impossible. Let's rephrase that. Mathematically, it's not impossible. Realistically, it is impossible.
Because you can't make nothing just out of nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if this is what I like to say. if the Big Bang Theory is correct, where did those big rocks come from that hit each other? Because before that, there was nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just said it came out of nowhere, and there's a big explosion, and it created
Mm-hmm.
all these things. If that is correct, where did that explosion come from? Where did that light come from?
Mm-hmm.
What does Jesus say? What does Jesus say in
Let
that
there
verse?
be
I am the way, the
light.
truth, and the light.
Hold on. Let's.
If the Big Bang Theory is correct,
I'm loving
then
this. We're getting off topic a
God
lot,
still.
but
I don't know. I like biology and all this junk.
we're gonna go. Very beginning of the Bible. What does it say? In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's
And the
very
earth was
simple.
out form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, the first words in existence was, "Let there be light."
Yep.
And there was light.
So again, with the Big Bang Theory, if that is true, there's your light right there.
There's
It
your light.
just
It didn't
sparked,
take
and there's the Earth.
millions of years.
And there's that other the another reason we started this class was over this entire section of Genesis. So scientists look at it as it takes billions of years for the Earth to cool and stuff. Like I'm in biology lab class, or I was. I'm not in it no more.
It can't be too long.
Yeah, I know. I just want to touch on this just real quick.
Okay.
They say Earth is like 4.3 million years old, and that's for it to be sustainable.
Mhm.
Before that, though, it's 13.7 billion years, and it took a lot of time for Earth to cool and actually be able to create sustainable life and stuff. So if that is true, there's another perspective of looking at Genesis as to where it's not actually days, and it's a reference to like courses of time, because Moses wrote Genesis, and he could have been just trying to explain it in a way, or God could have told Moses to explain it in a way where they would understand, because they don't have
We do
that much
we do
science
we do
knowledge.
disagree with that statement.
Yeah.
Though, and we think it was actually just one day.
And
based off
if
the
not,
text.
I can definitely see how
I could
like
see
switched in that way.
Yeah,
too,
I could see, but based off the text.
based off of just
know
like
it's
the
vague.
text. Yeah.
Anyways, this we've been a little bit over time because of a lot of stuff, but
Don't worry about it.
we want to thank you guys for listening in and dealing with all the craziness and the devil trying to mess with us. And we please encourage you to comment so we can get deeper discussions. If not, then we're just gonna. I think we should just do the Genesis.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I'm gonna do Genesis.
Well,
Yeah, we're gonna do the. If no one comments, we don't get a question. We're gonna do Genesis chapter 1, and literally that's gonna be the entire class is Genesis chapter 1.
We will be here for an hour, because I promise you, if you want me to, I will literally debate you, and I will look from the other side, and I will pull out my biology lab book because it has all the information.
Oh, yeah. We last time, real fast, we ended it, but we had this conversation with a dude a while ago, not a while ago, but a little bit ago,
It was just like maybe 2 months.
maybe 2 months ago, and we talked for about 2 hours straight just on the first 10 verses of Genesis.
And then we tried to bring other verses, and then we just got sidetracked.
We got sidetracked. Well, we thank you guys for joining, and we love you guys.
Like and
We'll
subscribe.
see you. Yes, do that. Like and subscribe. We'll see you Wednesday at 7.